is time to redesign some more Sonic OCs.
We are finally back with another part of redesigning your Sonic OCs. If you're not familiar with how this works, you guys submit your Sonic OCs, I tell you what I like, I tell you what I might change about their design, and then I redesign your character based on those redesigns that I would make. How long ago was it since the last part came out? 5 months ago. Damn. Well, I guess since it has been so long since the last part, I figured I would make this a little special. So instead of redesigning 4 characters like I usually do, I have decided to redesign not 5, not 6, but 7 OCs for this part. 2 submissions from Twitter, 2 submissions from Blue Sky, 2 submissions from my Discord server, and then a special submission that I'm going to save until the end. But before we get started, if you guys want to see more of these, then please subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any future videos or live streams. And without further ado, let's get into the first character. Okay, so our first character here is from Toonsy the Toon, and this character is called Clother the Hedge Lion. I think this is the first time I am doing a cross species. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, I do apologize to whoever I redesigned in a previous part. This is a pretty solid standard character design. I could definitely see this character being in the Sonic universe. I like the red to black gradient on the shoes. I actually think that looks pretty nice. I also like this like streak here that they have. It's kind of like a shadow marking. I like the mane that they have going back here as well. Obviously, since they are part lion, it makes sense. I'm not really sure how I feel about this color. I might try something that kind of matches a bit better with the red shoes down here. And honestly, I think maybe it might be cool if, because they have this sort of marking here on their arms, it might be cool to also have that kind of like being a streak on like their mane. So we might try that as well. I'll probably think of some other things to add to this character as I go, but for now, let us get to sketching. So the body should not be too hard to sketch out here. Obviously, since they are part hedgehog, we can kind of give them like this sort of Sonic body shape here. One thing that I also remembered as I was sketching these hands for the pose right here. So this character's name is Clother, but I don't see any claws on their hands. So I'm wondering if I either just want to give him like some like long claws maybe, or maybe like give him like some sort of like glove that looks like it has like claws on it. Kind of like how Knuckles has like the spiked knuckles on his, well, knuckles. Like what if they had like gloves that maybe had like sharp claws or nails on them or something? I don't know. Or maybe I'll just give them claws. We'll see when we get to drawing in like the details and stuff. They have more of that lion nose as opposed to the hedgehog nose. Sonic character nose tutorial coming soon? Maybe. Drop a comment if y'all want to see a nose tutorial. Probably be a pretty short tutorial if you ask me, but if y'all want it, I'll do it. And I think because they're like part lion, I kind of want to give them like some fangs for the teeth. You know what I realized? Has there ever been like a lion character in Sonic? I feel like I've seen one before, but I can't remember where I've seen one. Oh, that's right. I forgot about Smithy from the comics, the Diamond Cutters. I just read one of the Diamond Cutters issues not too long ago. How did I already forget about him? I'm actually going to put Smithy right up here in the corner right here so that I can maybe take a little bit of inspiration for the hair maybe. I think if I were to change one stylistic thing about the mane is maybe not have so many of these like tufts of like fur. I get that was probably by design to make it look like the character's hair is a little bit more shaggy and unkept, but I feel like less is more maybe in this instance. Like maybe we just have like a couple Greg Heffley type hair strings right here. I think for the chest fur also, I kind of want to try this like sort of heart-shaped tuft of fur. Design-wise, I think it kind of works pretty well. So now we're at the hands, and after having a little bit of internal dialogue with myself on whether or not I want to try out some gloves or just keep the hands, I think we're going to keep with the hands, and we're just going to add some claws. Now, as I'm drawing in these claws, I want to also keep in mind, I don't want to make the claws look like too menacing. I don't really get menacing vibes from this character, but I also want to make sure that like the claws are also like kind of a prominent, identifiable feature of this character. So we'll probably make them about yay long. So I think maybe something like this. Something like this, I feel like is good. So let's just do that for every finger now. All right. I think this is what we're gonna do for the hands. I also made sure to add the marking. It's kind of hard to tell in the reference how far it would go down. It looks like it kind of like stops at the bridge of the fingers. So I thought it might be cool to maybe extend that, maybe bring it down like yay far maybe. And now let us move on to the shoes. Like I said earlier, don't really have too many complaints about the shoes. So probably just leave those as they are. That was kind of interesting how you chose to have this character's shoes be untied. I can kind of imagine him almost like always tripping over his shoelaces if he's like running or something, being kind of clumsy. I don't know if that was the intention behind leaving the shoes untied, but that's what I figured. And I'm kind of wondering what it might look like if maybe they have like just like a little curl of fur right there. I might roll with this right here and add this in as well. Ooh, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm kind of feeling this. Oh, there's one thing that I wanted to add that I forgot to add, and that was the back spine, because this is a hedge lion, so it is part hedgehog. Cannot forget about that. Okay. I think I'm feeling pretty satisfied with this redesign right here. So let us outline it and then we will color it. So I think you do definitely have a very solid color palette to start off with. I do like these shades of brown. I feel like they're perfectly saturated enough, and I feel like they contrast each other enough really well. So I'm okay with keeping these colors. Now I know I said that I do like this gradient. I do think it looks cool. Looking at it more now, I'm not really sure if it would be better to not have a gradient though, just because everything else is so flat colored, and usually in at least 2D Sonic media, you don't really see a lot of characters with gradient coloring on their shoes, which I am assuming is for some sort of animating purpose, maybe. Either that or it's just never been a thing in the Sonic world, I'm not sure. So maybe we might just end up adding like a black stripe or something right here. You know what might be cool? Kind of leaning in more to the claw theme again. What if maybe each shoe had like a, I don't know, it's kind of like a Nike swoosh, but it's really just more like a claw shape like this. What does that look like? Ooh, okay. We're kind of getting somewhere. Now I'm wondering, do I want that to be black or do I want that to be a different color? I think we'll keep it black as sort of a nod to the OG design. And then I think for the claws here, we'll do like a darker shade of like the fur color. So maybe we'll do kind of something like this. And now for the mane. I did say I wanted to try a different color from this like navy blue. So right here, I'm using the same color as the claws, and I do kind of like how this looks. I don't know if maybe it's a little too monochromatic, maybe. Like maybe if I want to try a different color. So I have like this like sort of faded brown and then this brown. Kind of like the more faded brown. And then maybe, like I said earlier, I might want to try maybe like a streak kind of going up like this. I don't really know how that would work with this hairstyle though. It might look kind of wonky. What if it kind of does something like this maybe? And all of this is colored in. That actually looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look. I'm actually kind of okay with that. So I think this is going to be our final redesign. So to kind of recap what we did, we added some claws onto the character's hands because, in my honest opinion, if you're going to have claw in your name, you might as well give them some claws. If you're going to name your character Knuckles, give them some Knuckles. If you're going to name your character Tails, give them multiple tails. So kind of went by that logic. I changed the hair color. I added this streak here to sort of add something to sort of not make it just look like a big blob of color on the character's head. I added less of these like ruffles in the hair too, just to kind of clean it up a little bit, but also still have like that sort of scruffy, messy aesthetic. We changed the shoe design a little bit, slightly. And overall, I think this looks pretty good. You guys can let me know how I did in the comments down below. Thank you so much for submitting this really cool character, and on to the next one. Okay, so our next character comes from Yutori Hanzoki. I believe I am pronouncing that right. Yeah, so overall, I would say this is a pretty cool looking character. I really like the blue color palette here. I also just like the general overall aesthetic of this character. When I read the name Cannon the Falcon, it makes me think that like there's a way that we can kind of have some sort of cannon be associated with this character, maybe as like a weapon of some sorts. I'm assuming this right here attached to their leg is some sort of cannon or pew pew of some sorts. I know it's a gun. I just like to say pew pew. I don't know why, but seeing like the blue kind of makes me think of like Mega Man, and obviously Mega Man has like arm cannons as a weapon. So like, what if we like gave this character like an arm cannon, almost like Mega Man? I feel like that could probably be like a cool thing to try out. Found this picture of Mega Man that I'm just gonna have in the corner because I actually really like how this pose looks. So I'm gonna use this pose for this character. Yeah, we'll definitely find a way to make this arm cannon look unique to the character instead of just having it look like Mega Man. But I just wanted to get the general pose laid out, and then we can, you know, change the actual shape when we get into the details. Now, this character also has two sort of bangs kind of sticking up from the forehead here, and I'm not the biggest fan of how these look. They look okay, they kind of look a little out of place in my opinion. What I'm wondering from looking at this, what if we take these and actually turn them into eyebrows? You know how like sometimes Sonic characters will have like bushy eyebrows? What if we try that with this character? We'll see how that looks. Yeah, so far, I mean, that doesn't look too bad. I kind of mess with that. This streak of blue here is also kind of cool looking. I can't tell if it's like, yeah, it looks like it's more kind of like a circle. What I'm wondering is maybe we just kind of come down like here, and then here, and maybe we'll do like the same thing, kind of like how you already had it, where you kind of have like this like marking kind of coming down like that. Yeah, so something like that, definitely. All right, let's see what we can do about this cannon. So let's kind of start right here. I want to try and draw like this part right here. See if I can get that to sort of look cool. So something kind of like this, where this part right here is supposed to be like this like little light blue square right here. What I'm sort of imagining that I think might be kind of cool is like, what if this is like a button and it just kind of like builds the hand cannon like around the character's hands, so that it kind of is enclosed in the cannon like this maybe. I feel like it could be kind of cool. So maybe we just add like more of the button part right here. Okay, we're kind of cooking. We're like simmering right now, you know? It's not really that even with the arm though. Oh my god. Oh my lord. Okay. I did not realize that I had my subscriber alerts on while I was recording. That just scared me so bad. Oh my god. Holy crap. Okay, anyways. I think I'm actually gonna extend the shape of the cannon just a little bit. Instead of just making it like this giant tube, I'm gonna add like a little sort of indent right here. Maybe it kind of comes out like this and maybe kind of makes like this kind of shape. That could be kind of cool. Okay. I kind of like this. So I think we're gonna stick with this for now and draw the rest of the body just so I'm not spending, you know, the whole time on the cannon. Collar would kind of come down like this, right? And the rest of the jacket would come down like this. And the other side of the jacket will kind of come out like that. And then I don't know what exactly is going on here. I'm assuming this is like a scarf, maybe. if I had to guess. I feel like it's not really adding a whole much to the design. I think it's just kind of like a sort of extra few lines here. So I'm gonna opt to not include that in this redesign, and maybe just have there be like some sort of maybe bodysuit on underneath the jacket, maybe. Like maybe it's just like kind of comes down like this. I feel like something like that would probably look a little bit better. The boots, honestly, I don't really have too much of a problem with the boots. I think the only thing what I would change is maybe instead of making this like a small horizontal rectangle, I'm wondering if maybe like this middle rectangle is a bit longer this way and kind of goes all the way up here to kind of fill in the space, like this little gap here. Or what if we did something more like this, where we have this long rectangle right here, and then maybe we move the horizontal rectangle up here, like where the cuff is. So like we'll have like this square here, and then maybe we put that up here. I feel like this looks pretty cool. We're gonna go with this. And then maybe what if this character had like some like Silver the Hedgehog style like hexagon markings down here, and then maybe this could be like some sort of hovering flying mechanism that helps the character fly. All right, and then for the other hand, I think we're gonna kind of just keep it a little bit more simple. I feel like this is something that I noticed with a lot of Sonic OCs, and again, a lot of this is my opinions, but there's a lot of instances where I feel like less is more. I feel like just the design of like the jackets and like these like handcuff things, I feel like there's just like too much going on with the outfit. So I'm trying to like streamline it just a little bit, mostly because with a lot of characters, I try to think of like, if this character were to be in like the comics or in like a video game or in like a Sonic animation or something, just trying to make it so that it's not super complicated to try and draw from multiple angles and, you know, recreate in like an animation, or, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is less is more sometimes, and I feel like you shouldn't try and over design your Sonic OCs too much. Again, these are all my opinions, so you can agree or disagree. I will say though, on their jacket, it looks like they have this like emblem, which I'm assuming is probably part of the character's lore. Maybe it's like their squadron captain, maybe. So I am going to keep that badge. All right, I think I'm pretty satisfied with how this is looking, so I will outline it now. Okay, this character ended up taking way longer than I thought it would to outline. The cannon definitely took up the most amount of time. I'm gonna take this gray here. I'm gonna make that color of the eyebrows right there. And then I might make this like a red color, kind of like jet, just because I don't want it to blend in too much with the eyebrow color. And since the jacket color is the same as the fur slash feather color, we're just gonna make the whole jacket this like blue color, and then we'll keep this white. We'll make the outline of the badge that teal color that we used. Now I'm trying to think of a different color that we could possibly use for this bodysuit that isn't this color up here, just because I want to make it so that the outfit kind of has a little bit of contrast relative to what the body color of this character is. When I see these like teal and blue colors like this, it kind of reminds me of my own Sonic OC Zephyr. So I'm wondering if maybe we can use some of Zephyr's colors. I feel like that might work for this character. So Zephyr has like some neon green to his design. So maybe we make like this part like this neon green color right here. And maybe we do the same thing with like these like hexagon things down here. What if we try like a sort of greenish color? I don't know about that. Or maybe, I guess maybe this part could be this same color as like the fur up here. I think that could be fine. Let's make these silver right here and then right here. Like maybe the bottoms here, kind of this color. And maybe we make like this little rectangle just like a red, just to add like a different color. And then I wonder if to add just a little bit of color down here, maybe we actually divide this in half so that it's not just all white like this. Like maybe that orange could be good, or maybe actually maybe let's use this light blue. Yeah, I think something like that could be good. And actually I think that might actually be a better color for the bottom right here. And then we'll leave that neon green there. And then I think for the cannon, yeah, we could probably make these like the same similar colors. And then we'll have that like rectangle thing that's on like the back of the hands as well. I forgot to draw that in. I thought that was okay. I'm not opposed to having that in the design. Okay. I think one more thing that I would do. I'm actually gonna swap the colors for the tail here. So we're gonna have the tips be the lighter teal and then the base of the tail be the darker teal. That way this can match this up here. One thing I did want to do was color in the little emblem right here. So let's do that real quick. All right, after looking it over and kind of playing around with a few different things, I think this is what we're gonna go with as the final redesign. So what do we do? Well, kind of like with the first character, if you're gonna name your character Cannon, you might as well give him an arm cannon. I thought it would be kind of cool if we like took this like light blue square. It kind of looked like a button to me. And I thought it might be cool to like just make it a button where like if Cannon pressed the button, it would make like an arm cannon that wraps around his hand like this, kind of like Mega Man. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. We changed the colors and the design of the outfit a little bit. We also took these two feather bangs on the forehead and kind of made those into eyebrows right here. And then overall, we just kind of streamlined the design a little bit. I really liked how the original design looked. I think it looked really cool. I think it just might have been a little over designed in my opinion. So we kind of simplified the design a bit, made it a little bit easier to draw and animate from all angles while also maintaining sort of the really cool aesthetic of the original design. But again, you guys can let me know how I did in the comments. Thank you so much for submitting your character. This was a really cool one. And on to the next one. I was really hoping that this wasn't going to happen. So I started working on character number 3 and I was almost done with the sketch and I look over at OBS and I realize I did not hit record. So I've been recording on my camera the whole time, but you guys did not see any of the progress that I have made with this character yet. Oh, that's frustrating. All right, well, anyways, the third character that I chose came from Kordomosh437, and they submitted Glacier, the Siberian Husky. So basically, to give you all the quick rundown of what I liked and what I wanted to change about this character, overall, I thought that they had a really solid start with kind of building the foundation of this character. My mind automatically goes to cold and like, you know, Siberian weather, like Arctic, like stuff like that. But I'm not really getting that with the design of this character. It kind of just has like this, you know, the default Sonic gloves and like the default like tail style shoes. So I wanted to try and incorporate some elements into this character where you kind of get like that cold vibe, sort of like they kind of like, you know, enjoy the cold weather, maybe doing like some, you know, winter activities of sorts. So what I did work on so far, and you can see I had a little Siberian puppy here as a little reference, is this. So I decided to give this character like a little beanie, which with Sonic characters can sometimes be kind of tricky given like, you know, you got like sometimes some big ears that you have to draw like around the hat. So I drew this hat intended to be like one of those hats that has like the ears like, you know, like as part of the hat, like, you know what I'm talking about. And I thought it might be kind of cute to give him like a little hiking backpack and like give him like some hiking boots, like they like going on hikes in the winter. This is where I left off. So now that I am actually screen recording, let us quickly finish the sketch. I think really all I need to add is the pupils, and then that's it. I apologize in advance to Kordomosh if you are watching this. A, if I am mispronouncing your name, and B, that you don't really get to see the process of me trying to redesign your character is kind of already all done. But anyways though, here is the final sketch of this character that I am feeling pretty good about. So now we can outline it and color it. Okay. I made sure that I was screen recording this time. So now let's move on to the colors. So obviously we're going to have this dark gray for the base fur color. And then what I think I want to do is I want to take this red that was on the shoes and maybe make that this color here. At least I thought I wanted to do that, but now we're kind of getting into Santa Claus territory, so we might pick a different color actually. I think definitely since we are leaning towards like the colder theme, then we should definitely choose like some light blues. Maybe like a mix of like light and dark blues. Like what if maybe we make the hat this color and then this light blue? What if I maybe also try like some like orange and like brown? Ooh, I kind of like that. I feel like it kind of contrasts well with the eyes a little bit too. We might have to come back to the hat, but for now, I definitely know that I kind of want to try like some olive green colors for like the boots, just because I know like a lot of hiking and camping gear is kind of like either like an olive green color or like a brown color. So like maybe we have like the main color be like this olive green, or maybe what if we do more like this like kind of grayish green, maybe down here, and then use the gray for like this part with like the laces and then sort of the front. I kind of like that. That doesn't look too bad. And then let's use this same color for the bag. See how that looks. And then maybe we'll use like this blue for kind of like this sleep mat right here. I like how I said I was going to start incorporating like some like colder blue colors, and then I just kind of go like full like almost like military outdoors. But honestly, I kind of like it though. Let me try another shade of blue for the hat real quick. Okay. All right. I kind of like this. Maybe instead of like this like more muted gray, maybe we'll add like a little bit more saturation to it. Maybe something like that. Okay. Now that I look at these boots, I wonder if maybe we make this. Okay. After playing around with the colors for a little bit, I think this is going to be our final design for this character. All right. So what did we change for Glacier here? So like I said, with the name and the fact that they were a Siberian Husky, I kind of wanted to incorporate some more like cold, wintry aspects to this character. So I gave them some like wintry, like hiking boots. And I also gave them like this winter hat that goes over their ears like this. We changed the design of the fur a little bit and basically just took what I thought was a decent foundation for a character and just kind of elevating it a little bit and sort of leaning into a certain theme for the character, that being like wintry outdoor activities. So Quartermash, if you end up watching this, thank you so much for submitting your character. And I apologize that your section is so short compared to the others. And let's move on to the next character. All right, character number 4 is coming to us from Pergananet, and they have submitted this character right here, which I am assuming is some sort of bug character. I see the multiple limbs here. It looks like they have some sort of ant-like body. I don't see too many insect or like bug or spider Sonic OCs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe this character is actually a spider, possibly? Dried the spider. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so this character is a spider. I think you handled the design of the spider pretty well. I do really like how you added, you know, multiple arms and hands because they are a spider and spiders have 8 limbs or appendages. Looking at this now, I'm kind of wondering if maybe it should be like a bunch of arms and hands, or maybe it's kind of like they have 2 arms and hands like your usual Mobian, and then maybe there's like an extra spider leg on like either side of like their back maybe that sticks out, or maybe like the 2 arms and legs don't count as like the spider legs and there's like 8 coming out the back. I don't know. I might want to play around with that idea, definitely. Okay, so I was looking up like spider and bug Sonic OCs to look up as a reference to kind of get some ideas flowing for a design, and I found this character here that tried to make the legs and the back work. So I can't really read the name, but if I find out what it is, I will credit you in the video right now. These are definitely some interesting looking shoes. They're kind of like the puffy cloud shaped versions of the soap shoes, but orange and blue. I think based on how this character is looking so far, I'm probably gonna do the 4 spider legs on the back and then just have like the arms and legs be like the other 4 to make it an even 8. So I definitely don't want to have the design looking too cluttered. Yeah, so I think something like this could probably work. So now let's move on to some of the details. I just had this random thought as I was about to draw their face. You know what kind of eyes I might want to try for this character that I think actually might be kind of cool? I was thinking of maybe giving them like changeling style eyes, like the changelings from My Little Pony. I would probably consider myself a brony that by this point, I'm not gonna lie. I've been watching Friendship is Magic for like the past year now, and I didn't really think I would like get into it, but honestly, like, it's actually not that bad. There's actually a lot of episodes that I think are like really good. But yeah, changelings basically have like these like football shaped eyes. They kind of look like Blaze shaped eyes, but they don't have any pupils. They're just like a solid color, which already kind of gives off like bug vibes. So I kind of want to try that for this character. And yes, I know spiders are not technically bugs, but they are close enough, I feel like. And I also kind of like what this person did with like the 2 markings right here on the face. So I kind of want to do something similar for this character. They already had something like that with like this part of the eyes right here. Maybe we kind of do something where it's like the shape kind of coming down like this. So maybe they kind of do this sort of thing, and then maybe we'll just put like 1 circle there, and then 1 circle there. And then these are not pupils, they're just little like reflective circles. And then I'll probably give them a slightly less creepy smile, because with these eyes, I don't want to make this character too creepy. Now, I'm not really sure how I feel about this like slanting thing going on here. I think it looks cool from this angle. I'm just wondering how it's gonna look if like this character is like turned to the side. Like, would it just be pointing like straight out a bit maybe? I'm not entirely sure. So we might try a couple different things instead of having this shape up here. I will say I do kind of like these side hair parts right here, so we'll probably keep these. So I'm also trying something slightly different with the shoes. They're still gonna have like the same sort of like aesthetic to them, but I'm just kind of changing it slightly. Like the sole is gonna look a little bit different. I feel like this might look a little bit nicer. I was kind of thinking something a little bit more like this, where like the sole kind of comes up at like a bump back here. So the shoe still kind of has like this like cloudy look, but it also kind of looks like a basketball shoe. And I don't know why, but like I feel like with a lot of Sonic characters, if you try giving them just like something that looks like a basketball shoe, then I feel like that actually like complements Sonic characters' feet pretty well. Just because a lot of basketball shoes are kind of like bulky looking, kind of like this, depending on what kind of shoe you get. I remember when I was doing my Sonic X NBA art series, I had a lot of fun giving each character like a different type of basketball shoe. Maybe if I try giving them like some sick horns like Thorax, maybe that'll look kind of cool. I know spiders don't really have horns, but then again, this is a Sonic OC, and the Sonic universe is a universe that has wingless birds, so I guess not all animal logic applies in the Sonic world. Also, these horns actually do kind of look pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. They kind of look like fangs, and I know spiders have fangs, so I guess it's not completely off from actual spiders. And then one last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give them kind of like this like abdomen shell thing in the back here, just to kind of make the character just slightly more bug-like looking. And then before we outline and color it, I am gonna add like V sort of shape here, something kind of like this. I feel like could look pretty cool with the shoes. Maybe we'll even have 2 on each shoe. We have some extra space here, so maybe why not? And now I think I am feeling pretty good about this character, so I will be back after it is outlined. Whew, man, I feel like these characters are taking longer and longer to outline now. But anyways, let us move on to the coloring. So I think for now I'm fine with these colors. I might change them, I'm not sure yet, because I'm thinking I might add another maybe shade of brown for the legs back here. Also, now that I'm looking at it, why does this character's body look like a loaf of bread? I might have to change the markings on the stomach now because I cannot unsee a loaf of bread now. I don't even know what I would change it to. Oh my god. It literally looks like a loaf of bread. It literally looks like a baguette. Oh no. Or maybe when I try some different, maybe I can try some different colors and maybe, I don't know. I will say I do like this shade of blue and orange. These are like, it's like a pretty shade of blue. I might use that blue for the cuffs right here. And then maybe the orange can be the color of the eyes, possibly, maybe. I don't know. I don't know about green. Green might not be the best one. Or maybe the eyes could be blue. And then maybe the cuffs can be orange. Now that I look at it, this character's eyes were blue. So maybe we'll just make, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. And then maybe we'll take this like light gray here. Make that color. And then I might take this dark brown, do that. See how that looks. Okay, I kind of like that. Maybe make the two end points here that color. Okay, all right. I kind of like that. I still think their abdomen looks like a loaf of bread. So I think that, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can change this to something else real quick. Hold on. Okay, that definitely looks a lot better now. And I think now I am pretty content with how this looks. So I think this will be our final redesign. So what do we do differently? I thought it might be a little better to, instead of just having a bunch of arms and hands, maybe to try maybe having some actual like spider looking legs in the back here. I also am realizing that I basically am adding a little bit of thorax to this character's design, which honestly, I think is pretty fitting because I'm pretty sure part of a spider's body is called the thorax. So I think it kind of works out. We gave them like some thorax style like horns right here and also gave them some changeling style eyes, which I know we haven't really seen a Sonic character, like an official Sonic character, I believe, with these kinds of eyes, but maybe someone from Sega will see this video and give it a try with like a villain or something. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. We changed the body markings a little bit. I changed the shoes slightly also to have a little bit of a different design right here. And then I also gave them kind of like a shell also in the back right here. I know spiders don't really have shells, but I thought to make it kind of have more of like a spidery, arachnidy appearance, that might be a good thing to add. But what do you guys think? You guys can let me know in the comments. Is this a yay or a nay redesign? Pergana? Thank you so much for submitting your character, and let's move on to the next one. All right, heading over to the Discord server for character number 5, we have Flash the Shark, and they were submitted by Dash the Hedgehog. Here's Flash the Shark. He's a swimmer and pirate that lives near Emerald Beach. So if you're redesigning him, you could maybe fit in some pirate or swimmer vibes to him. I was about to say maybe there could be a little bit more of a piratey aspect here if that's what you were going for. I do kind of see you were trying to do that by adding some gloves and shoes with some buckles on them. So I will say you do have a very solid piratey, swimmer-y start here, especially with the bathing suit, I just noticed. So I think for this character, it's just a matter of building on those themes and just adding a few more piratey, swimmery aspects here. I already have a couple ideas. I'm thinking if maybe we can try and make like, you know how pirates wear like that bandana like on their head? I'm sure you guys have seen it kind of like with Sonic's pirate skin from Speed Battle. So maybe we could do something kind of like that. And then maybe we could also probably add some rings, because there is a character from the Archie comics who I'm assuming has been used as inspiration for this character, Razor the Shark. I'm sure you guys have probably heard of that character before. And I believe they were also a pirate as well. And I also found a picture of some other Archie characters, the Pirates of the Setting Dawn, who are also pirates. So let's see if maybe we can give Flash some similar additional design elements here. Apologies in advance if I don't really end up nailing the Mobian shark look. I think this is the first time I have ever drawn a Mobian shark. Now we're gonna draw the shark fin here, and if you guys have seen a couple of my Sonic character drawing tutorials, you know how I always like to say that Sonic's top quill reminds me of a shark fin. Do you see what I mean now? Do you see the vision? There's a reason why I always called it a shark fin, and redesigning this character I feel like is all but confirming my logic here. Now, if my pirate lore here is correct, I believe pirates usually carry swords as weapons, so why don't we give this character a cool looking pirate sword. I think most pirate swords usually have like a handle like this on them, don't they? All right, here's our cool pirate sword. And then one thing I'm noticing with a lot of these pirate characters, they have some sort of like sash or belt around them, which honestly makes sense. Pirates usually tend to wear belts, so I feel like we should give this character a belt as well. And then I'm adding a shark fin back here. I don't know if in the original design there was a shark fin in the back, just because the design obviously is facing directly forward towards me, so I can't really see the back, but I decided to add one in here anyways. I feel like that would be a cool little addition. I also thought it was kind of cool how you added fins onto the arms as well. I wonder if that actually makes a Mobian better at swimming if they have like a fin like this on their arm. Mobian experts or historians, if you can let me know if that is true, that would be greatly appreciated. So as you can see also, I'm also trying out a different type of glove. I think these are actually the gloves that Shadow's pirate skin from Speed Battle has, and I thought they were pretty piratey, so figured I would give them to Flash here. Now I know you were also talking about incorporating some like swimming or swimmer aspects with this character as well, so I'm kind of thinking maybe instead of boots, what if we give this character maybe like some like platform sandals or something? I feel like that could be a cool way to like incorporate a little bit of like swimming to this while also still giving off like a piratey sort of vibe, like about down to there. And then we have the strap going around like this. And then we'll give it a nice little pirate buckle right here as well. Yeah, I feel something like this could probably work. Now I'm wondering if I want to keep the bathing suit or maybe opt for something that is a little bit more piratey. Do pirates wear shorts? Does anyone know? So I saw like a couple different pairs of shorts where like they kind of have like this like cuff at the bottom of them. And then on the sides, which I actually don't know if we'll even see because of this angle, but there's like holes on the side here that kind of stitch like the pant leg together, and then they tie it like a knot down here. Maybe we just add like the laces of that right here to show that that's what's going on. Actually, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna add like parts of the laces like right here, and then we had like one loop right there, another one right here, and then have the lace kind of droop down like this. Okay, all right. Oh, I kind of like this. This actually looks kind of sick. And of course, cannot forget about the shark tail. And now moving back up here, I did say I kind of wanted to try like the whole bandana thing. Add like another wrinkle to it right here as well. Something kind of like Sonic's pirate outfit. And then also like Sonic's pirate outfit, why don't we give it some stripes too? Not just because it's what Sonic has, but I also feel like I've seen a lot of different pirate outfits that do have stripes incorporated into it, at least in fairy tale pirate stuff. I don't know about actual real life pirates, but I think it adds like a nice little design instead of having it just be like a solid color. And then last thing I think I want to add, like I said earlier, I want to try adding some rings right here. And then theoretically there would be another one over here, but it is going to be cut off by the arm in this pose. And then what I'm thinking is maybe instead of the neckerchief scarf, what if, because I know this is a thing, what if instead he has a shark tooth necklace. So like, what does a shark tooth look like? It kind of looks like this, and then it kind of like comes down at a point, kind of like this almost, right? All right, I think I'm feeling pretty good about this design right here. So let us outline it. Okay, so what I'm thinking for colors, honestly, I do really like this gray and red-ish color palette. I feel like, especially this dark red right here, I feel like really complements this gray really well. So I think we're gonna keep those colors for sure. Now, in terms of colors for the belt and the sandals, I am definitely feeling like black here, and then a leathery brown for the actual sandals down here. Obviously, we'll give the buckles a nice gold color to match the eyes. Do the same with the rings. I think we also make the gloves the same color as the sandals as well. Then we'll use like a nice sandy color for the shark tooth as well as the cord parts right here on the gloves. Color in the sword. And another thing that I definitely want to make sure is gold. Bling! Gold tooth, baby, let's go. I'm also going to color in the bands of this shark tooth necklace, this brown color. I was also going to add the little streaks of red on the tail and like the fin parts right here, but honestly, now that I'm looking at this design, not really sure if they're really needed. I feel like it would just kind of be adding a little too much by that point. One thing I will add though that I didn't add is I want to make there be like a thicker outline right here. And now after getting a good look at it, I think I am pretty content with how this turned out. This actually looks pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. In my opinion, at least, I think it looks really sick. All right, so what do we do differently? We definitely added some more pirate and a little bit of swimmer elements to the character, giving them this cool like Sonic pirate-esque bandana here, giving them a pirate sword, some new gloves, kind of incorporating like a fusion of swimmer and pirate by adding in some piratey looking sandals. We changed the shorts up a little bit and also gave the character a cool little shark tooth necklace. So overall, hopefully I did pretty well with incorporating some more piratey elements into this. You guys can let me know in the comments. Dash, thank you so much for submitting your character. And let's move on to the next one. All right, character number 6 comes to us from Destiny Edits. They have submitted their character Lupe the Canada Lynx. There's a lot of backstory here, but after reading it, I thought the coolest part was the matter switching power, how Lupe is able to change objects between their different matter states, like solid, liquid, and gas. I thought that was pretty cool. I've never heard of a character having that sort of power, like basically like turning water into ice or steam. I haven't seen another character be able to do like a matter switching thing like that, so that's pretty cool. I do also like this kind of more muted color palette. It kind of complements the gray of a lynx's fur pretty well. I think you definitely captured the essence of a Canada lynx and converted that pretty well into a Sonic OC, so hats off to you. I saw in the personality section that it says Lupe is brash and quick to anger, so I don't really get that, at least with this facial expression. It's kind of a bit more of a neutral one. I know it also says that she's also kind of the quiet type, so for the redesign, I kind of want to give them like a pose or a facial expression that sort of is like that cross between a more like standoffish character but is also pretty quiet, almost like a shadow kind of. I'm also not really too sure what's going on with the boots here. There's like this weird kind of heel shape back here. I think that's what that's supposed to be. So we might play around with a different boot design as well. We might also try something different with the gloves and the top as well. But overall, this is a pretty solid design. So why don't we get to sketching, and I'll probably change some other things as I go. I know I definitely want to keep a lot of the sort of futuristic techie sort of looking aspects of their outfit, just because I know based on their backstory they're very rooted in science, being from two parents who are scientists, so try and keep that in mind as I work on this. I think one thing I definitely want to try with the hair right here, based on at least the pictures that I've seen of lynxes, their hair usually tends to droop down as opposed to up like this. So I might try that with this character. Like maybe it does something kind of like this and then kind of curls down. I think with this redesign, I also accidentally gave Lupe a bit of a 5 head, so maybe we can make the hair a little bit thicker right here to hide the 5 head. All right, I played around with a couple different hairstyles. I think I'm gonna go with this one. I kind of like this one. It kind of matches the OG design a little bit. I kind of just made a couple little slight modifications to like the curvature of the hair. Now I'm seeing this orange and yellow and gray color palette, and my mind is kind of going to tangle. So I'm wondering if maybe for like the body outfit, what if we give Lupe like kind of like what Tangle has with like a one-piece sort of jumpsuit. And then we could probably still have the stripe going down the middle like this. And then maybe on the outside of the legs, maybe we just add like a little like stripe right here maybe. Ooh, and then maybe what if we kind of break it apart? So it kind of has this like sci-fi cyberpunk sort of aesthetic going on. I definitely want to keep the arm sleeves. One thing I'm kind of wondering is what this could look like without these cuffs here, and maybe we kind of just use this triangle and circle element right here, and then maybe that orange and yellow triangle and circle part can kind of be like right here, and they kind of protrude up so they're like 3D objects. It's gonna be kind of hard to tell, especially with these hand angles here. Actually, hold up, maybe I'll change this hand position so that we can actually see that. All right, after what feels like an eternity trying to figure out what to do with the hands, I think I'm gonna go with something like this. I think for the boots we can keep the cuffs the same. I think since we changed it for the gloves, we can keep it down here, and then we can add that triangle shape here with the circle in the middle. Add a little bit of 3D depth to it. And why not? Let's make the boot just a little taller. And of course, can't forget about the tail. I'm gonna change the tail slightly just because I want to make it look a bit more like a lynx tail. It looks like they have like a more stubby kind of tail, instead of this more like, this honestly kind of reminds me more of like a rabbit tail. So I wanted to change that up a little bit. I also want to try out kind of a different face marking right here. I don't know why, I kind of was imagining like 2 like triangles just kind of being right here. And we'll add the eyelashes. I'm also changing this part of the ear right here slightly. Oh, and one thing I also don't want to forget, I do like the spots, so we will keep those. All right, now after looking at this, I think this is going to be our final redesign. So now I will outline it. Okay, so for colors, like I said, I do like this color palette. I think the muted colors do kind of fit like the look of a lynx pretty well. I was kind of sitting wondering what else might look good for this character, but I might just stick with this and see what happens. So this is what Lupe looks like with the OG color palette. What else could I probably do here? What if maybe instead of this light gray, it's more of a light brown maybe? I kind of like this. This doesn't look too bad. Honestly, I kind of like this for the main fur color now that I think about it. I think I'm actually gonna make the nose a little darker of a brown, like the same color as the spots maybe. And then maybe I'm gonna take this brown and make it a little bit darker. So maybe something more like this, just to add a little bit more contrast. And the OG design had brown eyes, but I kind of want to give it a color to kind of make the eyes stand out a little bit. And y'all know me, I got some purple bias, but I like it. I kind of like that extra pop that the purple gives the eyes. So I think I'm gonna stick with the purple. You know what I might do? I might take these triangle shapes that I have in the forehead, maybe add those like down here. Something kind of like that. Something a little simple just to add a little more splash of color. All right, and now looking at this over, I think this is gonna be our final redesign right here. So what did we do differently? I think honestly, you had a very good start here with the OC design. I just wanted to play around with a couple different outfit changes and also experimented with a different fur color as well as some different markings on the face and a different pattern for the shoes as well. I also played around with making the hair on the side droop down a little bit to give it more of like a lynx look to it. And overall, I think this is pretty solid. You guys can let me know how I did in the comments. Destiny, thank you so much for submitting your character. And on to the last one. All right, so for our last character, like I said, I wanted to save this one for last because this character, unlike the other characters, was sent to me in a different way. This character was actually sent to me through a DM on X, which, for future reference, by the way, don't DM me your characters. I only accept submissions through either my Discord server or when I post on X or Blue Sky asking for characters. However, I decided to make an exception for this character because of the message that was left with it, which reads, "Hey Jake, my 11-year-old daughter Evie, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is absolutely hooked on your content. She's been binge watching your videos for weeks now and has been drawing along with your videos for hours on end some days. She asked me to reach out and share a character design she created, hoping you might consider redesigning it for one of your videos. I'm not sure how that process usually works, but I figured a PM would be a good place to start. She also wanted me to tell you how much she loves your OC Orko and to thank you for all the amazing content. She's learned so much from your videos." I'm not gonna lie to y'all, when I read that, that put just the biggest smile on my face. I thought that was so sweet. It always makes my day seeing that in either my YouTube comments or in my DMs sometimes when they are open. Just knowing that my videos have helped so many people and people find enjoyment in watching my videos, whether it's tutorials or funny little Sonic OC videos, it just really means a lot to hear that people are watching them and having a good time watching them. So I wanted to make an exception and include Evie's character here. This is Crimson the Hedgehog. And I would just like to say, Evie, hats off to you. I think you did an awesome job with Crimson's design here. I really like the black and crimson color palette. I also liked how you named them Crimson because of said color, I'm assuming. I thought that was a nice little tie-in. I think the black and red color palette's also pretty fitting considering they have a GUN related backstory, just like Shadow. I think if I could offer just a couple suggestions, I think one thing I would do, I feel like the black bangs right here, the black highlights on the hair kind of blend in a little bit too much with the outfit. They kind of get lost where this sort of black jacket is. I actually almost didn't even notice the jacket because it's a bit too similar to this skirt color here too. So what I would do is maybe add like a streak of color right here. It could be this red, but I feel like it should also probably be a different color just because I want to add just a third color here to give it a little bit more pizzazz, you know? I think I might also change this skirt color here just so it's not blending in too much with this jacket right here. And also, it says under personality that Crimson is smart, energetic, curious, and sassy. I think this pose right here definitely says curious. I'm not really sure if I really get the vibe that she's energetic and sassy from this. So when you draw Crimson in the future, maybe making her have a bit more of a energetic facial expression, maybe giving her some more sassy poses when you draw her, something like that could help out a lot. So without further ado, let's get into the redesign. All right, so here's the more sassy-ish pose that I kind of wanted to give Crimson here. And the design was kind of reminding me of like a darker Amy Rose almost. So I kind of wanted to give her more of like an Amy Rose style pose, maybe, just to kind of see how that would fit. I do also like the bangs covering half of the eyes as well. Reminds me of the good old days of when I drew Emo Orko a couple months ago. This is also a really subtle thing, and I don't know if this was intentional, but if it was intentional, this was another great thing, Evie. I liked how this back part of the hair right here kind of curls out like this. I thought that was a good way of making this character have a bit more of a unique hairstyle as opposed to just giving the same hairstyle as Amy. So that was a nice touch. Now, something that I think actually might look pretty cool. What if I gave her like a flannel, like a little flannel or striped, maybe striped actually, like overshirt, and maybe like the sleeves can be rolled up like right here. I think that way we can add a little bit of contrast from what are going to be some black tips for the hair. And then one thing that I think might be kind of cool for the boots, I don't know why, but like I'm kind of envisioning that on like this white stripe here, there's just like a little crimson rose acting as kind of like a little belt buckle, I guess you could say, like a little boot accessory. I feel like that could be nice. Isn't there something in like pop culture related to a crimson rose? I can't remember. Maybe it was a book or something. I don't know. But anyways, I think that adding like a little flower, specifically a rose, because roses are usually like a similar crimson color compared to the rest of the design here. I think that could look really nice. So I'm going to add that on here. Fun fact, I used to draw roses a lot in my notebook in high school. I don't know why. Roses were just very fun to draw, and that is what I would always do instead of paying attention in class. But just because I did it doesn't mean I want you guys doing it. Stay in school, pay attention. Yes, then we'll just add another one right here. Yeah, something like that, just to kind of give the boots a nice little, interesting little accessory to make them kind of stand out a little bit. And now I kind of want to change the facial expression over here a little bit to make it a little bit more sassy. Then we'll add the eyelashes right up here, and we'll give a more like sassy looking smirk right here. And I think this is what we're going to go with as our final redesign. So now let us outline it and color it. Okay, so like I said, I really do like this color palette here. So let's color all of that in. And I think instead of making these black highlights a pure black, I'm going to use this dark gray. And I think if I were to add a third color, I think I'm going to make this jacket, I don't know why, I'm feeling like a magenta-y kind of color. Like maybe something kind of like this. And then maybe we can leave the collar white, and I might leave the rolled up sleeves white as well. And then why don't we make these like a gold, kind of like Amy's ring cuff things. Actually, you know what might kind of work? What if I do more like a aqua? Something like that might look kind of cool. I feel like it kind of matches with the magenta here. I'm gonna leave it for now, but I might change it at the end. And I'm just gonna pick like a darker shade of red to use for the rose, or the roses, I should say. And then we'll use like a gray for the bottoms of the shoes right here. And then I think keeping this sort of faded green color for the eyes should be fine. Now I'm just kind of looking and wondering if I want to add anything else, or if I also maybe want to change these ring colors right here. A color more like this might be good. That could be interesting. What if I brighten it up just a little bit more? Ooh, okay. All right, I kind of like that. I might go with that. I think this color might be better. And then I think just to add one more thing to make it so that the gloves aren't just a pair of white gloves. What if we give crimson like a little ring, like right here, and then maybe it has just like a little crimson colored stone right here. And the reason why is because in the backstory, it says that her mother was taken away by GUN agents. So maybe this ring can kind of act as like a little memento of like her mom. Like maybe her mom gave it to her as a gift one day. So I think that might be a nice little thing to add. And I think this is what we are going to go with as our final redesign. So to recap what we changed, I think, again, Evie, hats off to you. This was a great start to your OC right here. I just wanted to change a couple things, mainly changing her jacket so that it was a color that could stand out against the black streaks in her hair. I also decided to add some crimson roses on the shoes right here just to add a little bit more visual interest. Swapped out the jacket for a striped overshirt and also added a ring on the gloves as a little tie-in. Again, maybe this could be like a gift that Crimson's mom gave to her before she got taken away. And again, I think when you draw your character, you want to make sure that you draw them with facial expressions and poses that match their personality. That way people can have a good understanding of what your Sonic OC is like personality-wise. So I decided to give them somewhat of a bit more sassy pose to sort of match the sassy personality. And you can also do the reverse of what I did. Instead, maybe if you like drawing these more shy and reserved style poses, maybe you can change their personality to be more shy and reserved. But in general, drawing your character with poses and facial expressions to match their personality, I think is a great tip in general with designing a Sonic OC. So that's what we did. And Evie, if you're watching this, 1, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And 2, keep up the awesome work, keep drawing because you are a fantastic artist. And there we go. That is 7 more redesigned Sonic OCs in the books. How do you guys think I did with these redesigns? Did I do good? Did I do bad? You can let me know down in the comments below. Thank you again to everyone who submitted a character for this episode. And if you want your Sonic OC to be redesigned for a video, make sure you are following me on X or Blue Sky if you have it. I'll usually make a post when I'm asking for new submissions for the series. I also have a channel in my Discord server for redesign submissions, so if you'd like, you can join using the link in the description down below. And even if you don't get picked, you can hang out and chat with other people in the J Creative community, share art, OC lore, stuff like that. And if you haven't yet, click right here to watch the other parts of my Redesigning Your Sonic OCs series. And as always, again, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any future videos or live streams. And that's about it. See ya.